I didn't run today. I'm just going to do a little walk. I got here, it was a lot of traffic. So, and this is not going to be a long walk now, but I got to at least walk. I might run a little bit later, but for right now, we're just going to do the walk down. Nice, pretty day. I'm not going to go to the other side over there. I think I'm just going to hang out right here and just rock with it like this. Might go to the other side right now. Yeah, we're going to go to the other side just to see what's going on. That Iran war, man, is heating up. That's what's going on. It's heating up. A lot of people starting to take Iran's side, but you gotta really know. Well, I think I went wrong. Well, I just go around. You gotta really know what's going on. You know, you gotta really know the history of what's being put out there before you can really have an opinion about it. Because it's the thing is, two things can be true at the same time. That's one thing we gotta realize. Two things can be true at the same time. Yes, Iran is a threat. They've been a threat ever since I was a little kid. And yes, maybe this ain't the time to do it. You know, it just depends on how you look at it. You know, I think that my opinion is that this was the right time to do it. That's my opinion. That's what I think about it. You know, knowing the things that I know and all the threats and everything that's been happening, this was the time to do it. You know, that's just my opinion, what I think about it. This was the time to do it. Now, how long it's gonna last is that's just up for grabs. But it's been time to do it. Let's get that. Let me put that out there. We almost too. It was all this right here. It was almost too late. You know, I'm just gonna say that it was almost too late. What's going on right now should have been happened. You know, but these people, you know, they got a little steam now, so you know it's gonna be a little bit more harder than if it's gonna be harder right now than what it was if they'd did it, let's say 10 years ago. You know, so you in the South, brother? Yeah, I'm in the South. What's your Snapchat? I don't have Snapchat. Appreciate y'all for joining, but I think that if we didn't do that right now, I think that, man, we'd have been in for a rude awakening. That's what I'm thinking. And I'm hoping that we are successful with this. You know, I hope we are successful because it's not fun and games. Those people been threatening and saying death to America for a long time. You know, and you got to take threats seriously, especially when they have the resources to build on the back end and try to make that happen. So, you know, at this time, we don't have that much time left before they accomplish what they need to accomplish. We got to understand that, you know. So as we go on, yes, gas prices are going to get a little high right now. Right now they're trying to get into that Strait of Hormuz. They're trying to get inside of there. We talked about that. But what we have to understand is that what's going on, it needed to happen. And it should have been happened. You know, it should have been happened. Those people had a lot to do with September 11, 9/11. And that's what y'all have to realize, you know, is that it should have been happened. You know, the only thing that I'm thinking about when it comes to that is that we went through the pandemic, right? We went through that big pandemic, and that pandemic, it hurted us a lot. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, we are also, Chad, still recovering from the pandemic. You know, we are, even though nobody's really getting sick, but economically, we have been totally wrecked from the country shutting down from the pandemic. So the thing is, we it's a hard decision to make, you know, because as we try to get through everything we went through in the pandemic, we on shaky grounds, you know, we on shaky grounds here in America. We've been on shaky grounds ever since 2019, 2018. We've been on shaky grounds, you know, and that pandemic kind of put us on the ropes, to be honest with you. So we're trying to fight, you know what I'm saying, at the same time. And because we're on the ropes, the enemies, they know we're on the ropes, you know, because America is not built. See, that's one thing we got to understand. America was not built to shut down, you know. America was not built to go through a pandemic like that, where the whole country shut down. And we had to go through all the steps of reopening, and that took like 3 years or whatever the case may be to even open. So America being shut down all that time, it put us on the ropes. Now these other countries, we might say stock sniper, all these other countries, you know, they were shut down too. Well, they system don't work like the American system. You know what I'm saying? They system don't work like our system. You know, so it's a difference. As we look at this, we back over here where we was at yesterday, chat. They system don't work like our system. It just don't. Appreciate y'all for joining me. Yeah, they system don't work like our system. You know, the American system is just on a whole nother level, you know, and it's called like freedom. Our country is not built to shut down, you know, and that's the most simplest way I can put it. So when our country shut down, you know, for those years, it took a lot for America to get back up. And guess what? America is still, this is like if you're in a fight and you get knocked down, you know, and you got to try to get back up on your feet and get your senses together. America is still in a daze, like we talk about when it comes to mixed martial arts. When you're in a daze, you getting up and you're still in a daze and you're trying to shake off all the cloudiness and all the days and get your senses back to get back to going. That's where America is right now, chat. You know, and at the same time, we got to defend ourselves. You know, and then guess what? At the same time this is going on, the enemies overseas, guess what they're doing? They're building. They're trying to really get they're trying to dot all their I's. They're trying to, you know, dot all their I's and cross all their T's because they know that we're against the ropes and we're trying to get our swag back. And this was y'all can think what y'all want to think, but in my opinion, they were planning to attack America. They were planning on doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because they know we're shaking. You know, and what ultimate goal is not to only kill Americans, but their also goal is to put fear in everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Their goal is to also put fear in all of us, because if you scared to go outside, scared to come out here and chill like what I'm doing, scared to go on with your life, and you stay locked up in the house, they like that, because that goes against our democracy, which is the democracy of freedom. Breaking news, F-35 hit by Iranian missiles. Did Trump make mistake by starting this bloody war? But what you got to understand, I don't understand why some of y'all not getting this, is that they have been deaf to America and threatening America and killing Americans and killing our soldiers ever since I was a little bitty boy. That's what y'all have to understand. Y'all trying to say that people keep saying that Trump started this war. Bro, they've been trying to attack us. They've been screaming death to America. That's how I know some of y'all are young. You know what I'm saying? But you have to do your own research and talk to somebody that's older that can tell you that those people been trying to kill Americans, trying to kill exactly what we stand for, which is democracy. The same thing that we do every single day. They can't stand the fact that I can come out here and do what I do and I got the freedom of speech to say what I want to say. They can't stand the fact that you can type whatever you want to type. You can say whatever you want to say. Don't you know in some of them countries, they can't even get on social media, guys? Some of those countries can't even be on TikTok. Those governments don't let them come on Facebook and TikTok. Don't y'all understand this? They are really, they do not want their countries to start wanting the freedoms and the things that we have in America. They don't want that over there. You know what I'm saying? That's what we have to understand. That's what we have to understand. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, James. See, that's why a lot of you, that's how I know that a lot of you guys that be saying Trump started the war and Trump did all this. Man, these people have been threatening America and saying death to America ever since I was a young kid. They've been, and then also, they also helped. They helped Osama bin Laden and all these terrorists when it came to 9/11. They scripted 9/11. Some people don't even understand about 9/11. You know, in my opinion, what Trump is doing right now, we should have been did that long time ago. You know, we should have been did it. You know what I'm saying? But it's almost too late. That's why it had to be done right now. The thing is this, the reason why, like I said a while ago, the reason why we're going through what we're going through, chat, is because we're still in shambles about the pandemic. That's the reason why, that's the main reason why all these prices have gone up. We're still suffering from the pandemic. The economic side of the pandemic. You know, that's the thing. That's the reason why. Now, the war and what's happening right now, yes, you know, the prices are going up, but the prices have already been going up ever since the pandemic. You know, we have to understand that. You know, that pandemic, oh, look, Chad, that pandemic hurted America really bad. And that's one thing we have to think about. You know, I'm going to say it over and over again. We are still recovering from the pandemic right now. You know, and it's a big decision. You know, we already know, everybody that's older already know that Iran and all those terrorists been screaming death to America forever. They will, one thing about them, Chad, if they want to kill me right now, they would kill themselves to kill one of us. We got to understand that. They will kill themselves just to kill me or you, if that's what the mission is. Pandemic hurt the whole world, bud, not just America. The pandemic hurt us worse. Why, Stock Sniper? Because the way America is set up, the system is set up. America is not built to get shut down. It's not built for that. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to understand. America's system and the democracy of America is not built for America to be shut down like that. So it hurted America more than it hurted anybody. A lot of those countries can't do what we do over here. You got to understand that. A lot of these countries, whatever country you're talking about, they don't have the freedoms that we do in America. They don't. You know, and a lot of those countries, and I'm going to say it again, a lot of those countries, they actually, those leaders, I ain't talking about the people. Let's just clear that up. I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the government, the people that's running those countries. They actually hate how we got it made in America. They hate what America stands for. They hate for the foundation of America. They hate it. You have to understand that they hate what we do. They hate that I'm able to come out here and speak my truth. They hate that I'm able to come out here and speak how I feel. It's called freedom of speech, right? That's what we have to understand. It's called the freedom of speech. Child, I hate you. Well, I love you, child. I got all much love for you. I hope you're having a great day. 4 years under Biden almost destroyed America. Facts, James. Facts. That's what people got to understand. A lot of us got to get out our feelings. Child, why are you saying you hate me? You know, we have the freedom of speech. You know, don't get upset about what's coming out of my mouth. How can you say you hate me when you don't even know me? You don't even know me. All it is you don't agree with what I'm saying, which is fine. It's all right to disagree. You know, it's all right to disagree. You're not supposed to be a yes man. You're not supposed to agree with everything that I say. And matter of fact, I don't want you to agree with everything that I'm saying. I don't. But that don't mean that you should say you hate me because I have my own views. That's the same thing about, that's what's so great about the freedom of speech, right? You can say what you feel, I can say what I feel, and we don't have to come at one another. That's what they want us to do overseas, chat. Overseas. Not the people. I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the system of those countries overseas. They want us to go back and forth. You know, that's because that is the system of democracy of America. And we have to understand that that is the system. The freedom of speech is a foundational system of America. We the people. That's right. We the people. So we have to understand that. It just so happened that for some reason, which I have yet to have an opinion about this. I'm trying to figure out, and I'm trying to collect an opinion on why those other presidents did not do what Trump is doing right now. That's what I'm trying to form an opinion on. Okay, those presidents, every last one of them, knew about the threat that Iran has been saying about America ever since I was a kid, right? They've been trying to plot, plan, and strategize, you know, against doing America all kind of ways. That's just like, chat, that's just like if somebody is threatening you, threatening your family, threatening to do something to you physically and harming you and your family, and you don't do nothing about it. You don't take no precautionary measures. You don't attack first and ask questions later. Same thing. Same thing. You know what I'm saying? Whenever somebody poses a threat to you, right, in real life, your goal is to plot, plan, and strategize and how to react to somebody that's trying to cause you and your family harm. Same thing. But the thing is, I can't understand is why did all these other American presidents like just pushed it down to the next president? None of them wanted to take action. You know what I'm saying? None of them wanted to take action. Hey, what's up, ATM Tim? Nobody wanted to take action. You know, but to be honest with y'all, if Donald Trump didn't take the action that he's taking right now, in the future, we will be going through, not probably us, probably the kids and the grandkids, because again, we can't be thinking about today. You can't. We supposed to be thinking long term. So the actions that we do today, the actions that our government do today, the actions that our president do today, it really doesn't affect us that's here right now. It affects our great grandkids. It affects our downline. That's what it affects, Chad. And that's what we got to understand. You know, and the closer that our enemies, the closer that our enemies, the closer they are to getting a hold of a nuclear weapon, the chances of them attacking us or our allies, it goes up by 50 to 75%. And that's exactly what we have to realize. That's exactly what we got to realize. Dummy. Well, if you don't agree, Roosevelt, that's on you. You emotional. But keep on living. That's all I ask, Roosevelt, is for you to keep on living. And you'll see. And you'll see what's going to happen. You'll see. See, that's the thing, guys. When it comes to living, when you live life every single day, you know what I'm saying? You live life. You learn. Life lessons is the best education. Life lessons, living. You know what I'm saying? Living and going through life. Age. God waking you up every single day so you can learn, so you can thrive, so you can grow. Guess what that does? That teaches you. You know what I'm saying? A long life is a great, great lesson. If you looking at life as I'm learning something every single day. Every single day. So, with that being said, every single day, as we got 80 people in the live, I appreciate y'all for joining me. Look where I'm at. I'm here just chilling. I did not run today, Chad. I didn't run. So we just doing the walk down and we just chilling. MAGA, making America go away. See, that's another thing that we got to understand, Chad. Please listen to the OG. We got to understand that right now. It's not about MAGA. It's not. Some people want to make it about MAGA, but it's not about MAGA. It's about policies and it's about laws and it's about keeping the country safe. That's what it's about. It has nothing to do with MAGA. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It has something to do with the laws and the policies and knowing the threats that we have in this country. The threats that our enemies have been doing to us since I was a kid. 9/11, 9/11, all these terrorist organizations. Y'all need to realize Iran is a big part of all those terror organizations. Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Taliban, all, etc., etc., etc. Iranians, Iran funded a lot of those attacks that are probably in some of you guys' history books in your local library. We got to understand that. We have to understand that. The only thing I don't understand is why no other president took action. Why no other president didn't take action. And guess what, chat? If this president didn't take action, ain't no telling what our great-grandkids will go through. We got to understand that. See, we got to stop thinking about today. We got to start thinking about the future because life is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not. We have to start thinking about our great-grandkids, our grandkids. I don't care if you're 20 years old. I don't care if you ain't got no kids, but if you plan on having kids, you got nieces and you got uncles, you have to start thinking about your downline. We have to start thinking about your offsprings. You have to start thinking about where you want your kids to be, where you want your grandkids to be when you are no longer on this earth. We have to start thinking about that, and then we judge, right? This is the great thing about America. This is one of the best things about our American democracy. We elect who we elect. If they don't do a good job, after they are out of office, what the great thing about America is that we get to vote them out, and then we get to voice our opinion, AKA we get to grade what they did while they was in office. That's the only thing. Only history. This is very, very important, chat. Only history be able to tell us if our president, whichever one it is, did the right job or did not do the right job. Just like right now, I'm thinking about Bush. I'm thinking about all our Clinton. I'm thinking about Bush. I'm thinking about Clinton. I'm thinking about the other president that died. I'm thinking about those three older presidents. And what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to figure out why they didn't pull the trigger, why they didn't try to put a stop to whatever was going on as far as our enemies saying death to America. That's what I'm thinking about right now, chat. Why they didn't make I want to know the reason why. Not to say that it was the right decision or the wrong decision. I want to know the reason why they didn't attempt to pull the trigger and stop this before it has gotten this far. That's one of my big questions. Why Donald Trump has to be the one to call the shots and pull the trigger. But I do understand, and that's what we got to understand. Right now, Chad, right now, those people overseas, Iran, they are super, super close. Super, super close. They are closer than they ever been before. Because think about it like this. They have been saying death to America ever since I was a little bitty kid. Like the guy in the chat said, 47 years. They have been saying death to America through how many presidents? Clinton, the one before Clinton, the one that died. The one that died, I can't think of his name right now. But the president that died, if you was on the live, we gave him his respects and we watched his live and reacted to, we reacted to that president's funeral. Carter, that's his name. President Carter, right? This been going on since President Carter. I was a little bitty boy when Carter was the president. So the question is, why Carter didn't take care of business? Why Clinton didn't take care of business? Why Bush didn't take care of business? We already know during Trump's first administration, he took out Soleimani, which was the heart and soul of the Iranian regime. Soleimani, a lot of y'all probably don't even know this. Soleimani, during Trump's first administration, Trump took out Soleimani. But all that did was give us a little bit more time. You know what I'm saying? That's all it did. It gave us a little bit more time, you know, so they had a little setback. But then what happened was, after that, the pandemic came. Well, when the pandemic came, America got crippled, you know? America got crippled because of the pandemic, and it brought us all the way down to our knees. It staggered us. And guess what happened? They really started trying to get all their eggs in one basket so they could try to attack, so they could try to cause harm to our democracy. That's what they tried to do. But guess what? Thank God that we got a president that understands through the intelligence, that understands the risk, right? Just imagine if this president didn't become the president, Chad. Just imagine if this president didn't become the president. We're not talking about a name, right? A lot of people don't like Donald Trump. A lot of people don't like what he did. We're not talking about a name. We're not being emotional, right? I don't like a lot of things about Donald Trump. I'm gonna be the first to say that. But it's not about if I like him or not. It's not about if I like how he moves. It's all about policies and laws. That's all that matters. Policies, laws, and what happened in the past. That's what matters. Policies, laws, what happened in the past, and what's gonna happen in the future for our kids and our great-grandkids. That's what matters. Because just imagine if we would have had the same administration from last time, Chad. I'm gonna just keep it real. If we would have, just imagine if Biden would have been the president right now. We would be, y'all complaining about gas prices and all this right now. Just imagine if Biden, I ain't talking about the name, I'm not talking about the person, I'm talking about what he did in office. I'm talking about policies and laws, right? Just imagine if they would have still been in power right now. That's what we have to think about. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I would rather be in the position that I'm in right now than the position I would be in if Biden or the Democrats, the people that are over the Democrats right now, don't get upset because I say Democrat, but the people that are in charge of the Democrats right now, Chad, we would, trust me, listen to the OG, we would not want them in power, bro. I'm telling y'all, we are in 100% better position right now than we would be, this is my opinion, if Biden or Harris would have been the president. Just let that get, that's my opinion. And I believe I'm about 90% right because I'm thinking about the future. Because if we had another 4 years of Biden or Harris, guess what? They'd have gave them more money. Because don't forget, Obama gave Iran a lot of money, bro. We got to understand that. And all they did with that money was invest it into the things they need to invest in to do what? To attack America. That's what we got to understand. That's what we have to understand. And that's a fact. You know what I'm saying? That is a proven fact. And we got to understand that. And you might not understand why, but I just gave you the basic information within this live. They are totally against our morals and principles, our democracy, our freedoms. They are totally against it, Chad. That's the reason why you have terrorist attacks. That's why you have suicide bombers. Their main objective is to put fear in every American, make us scared to go outside, make us scared to go out of our house, make us scared to speak your mind. They want us to be lips closed and not go nowhere. They want us to be locked down. That's what we got to understand. That's what we have to understand. And I know a lot of people ain't going to agree with me, but that's cool. But just keep living and keep watching and you'll see and I'll see. But guess what? I got time, history, and knowledge and wisdom on my side. You know what I'm saying? I've been infatuated with this as we head to the other side. We got 140 people 104 people in the building. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. I appreciate everybody that's commenting. This the Freedom of Speech channel. You can speak how you want to speak. If you don't agree with me, you ain't got to agree. You know, if you have something that you want to say that's that add on to what I'm talking about, drop it in the comment section. You know, drop it in the comment section. You know, that's what we got to realize, Chad. That's the great thing about America. You can say what you want to say about anything else, but in America, we got the freedom of speech, Jack. You can speak your mind, be who you are, you know, and that's what I love about the chat. That's what I love about the chat. That's what I love about the chat. You forgot it was Trump, Biden, then Trump. No, you forgot. It was Obama. It was Bush, Obama, then Trump, then Biden, then Trump. And then before Bush, it was Clinton. So you gotta know the full history. If you don't realize this, the last 20 or 30 years, who mostly been running the country? The Democrats. Go back and look. The Democrats have mostly been in charge. You know what I'm saying? But you also got to understand is that the Democrats of yesterday are not the same Democrats of today. They're not the same. We got to understand it. Let me say it again. That's why I say don't look at a title, a Democrat or Republican. You got to look at the policies and the laws. The Democrats of today are not the same Democrats of yesterday. And I mean it as far as the past. The Democrats during the Clinton era, it's not the same Democrats during the Bush era, during the Obama era or the Biden era. It was basically 100% change. They're not the same people. They don't have the same policies. They don't have the same morals. They don't have the same none of that. You know what I'm saying? The Democrats from the Clinton is totally different than the Democrats from Biden. They different. And that's what you got to understand. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to understand, chat. A lot of y'all probably don't even know that Donald Trump used to be a Democrat. A lot of y'all don't even know that. That's why I say, the Democrats, you say no, but I'm telling you right now, Trump used to be a Democrat. That's what y'all got to understand. A lot of y'all don't even know that, bro. A lot of y'all don't even know that Donald Trump used to be a Democrat. Y'all don't know that. That's why I'm telling you, the Democrats of yesterday and the Democrats of today is different. They have different policies. They have different laws. They have different things they want to do. It's totally different. It was 100%, probably more than that. It was a 360-degree change between the Democrats during the Clinton era and the Democrats during the Biden era. It's totally different. It's totally different. And we got to understand that. Got to understand that. And the only way you can understand that is if you lived long enough to understand it, or somebody in your family, your daddy, your mama, your uncle, gave you the knowledge, or you go back and read through the history books. You know they got history class, social studies, political science, which are great subjects, by the way, that you have to study. You know what I'm saying? You have to study, and you have to really live long enough to understand what's going on. That's like a lot of, when I hear somebody say that Trump started the war, I already know that they're young. You know what I'm saying? Once I hear somebody say Trump started this war, I already know that you're young. Why, Stock Sniper? Because we've been in war with Iran and these terrorists way before September the 11th. It's been going on. That's what we got to realize. If you don't get nothing else out of this live, understand this. Trump didn't start no war. This thing been going on. It's been going on. If you don't believe me, go and do your research on September 11th. Go do your research on the Taliban. Go do your research on ISIS. That's your homework for today. Go do your research on the Taliban. Go do your research on ISIS. Go do your research on Afghanistan. Go do your research on those terrorist groups that have been linking up, killing not only American families, but American soldiers. Shout out to the military. Shout out to the military. Shout out to all the soldiers. All the military. We got the best military in the world. And I stand on that. And sometimes when you are getting threatened, you got to activate. You can't let nobody threaten to kill you and your family, y'all. You ain't gonna let nobody threaten your household. Somebody said they gonna come kick your door in. What you gonna do? You're gonna prepare and you're gonna activate. That's how it works, chat. So don't let nobody tell you, listen to OG, don't let nobody tell you that Trump started a war, bro. This war been going on. That's what y'all have to realize. It's been going on since before September 11th. This war been going on before I was born, bro. This war been going on since Clinton was president, since the president that died, that I can't think of his name again. But this been going on for decades. So we got to understand this. So please explain, and I love you very long. I've already explained it. That's why I explained it long enough so a 9th and 10th grader can understand it. So I'm going to break it down again. Trump didn't start no war, right? Trump didn't start no war in Iran. This war been going on since September 11th. If you don't know what September 11th is, the Twin Towers, when those airplanes ran into the economic system of America, September 11th and the Twin Towers. If you don't know what that is, I'm about to tell you right now. Those Twin Towers is the economic foundational system of America when they flew those planes inside of our foundational system. You got to understand that. Y'all got to understand that, chat. You got to understand that. So when they talk about the war been going on. Y'all got to realize that. It ain't just started in 2026. It been started. Like I told y'all, it started ever since. They've been doing it since I was a kid. And guess what? It just so happens that right now, our intelligence are telling us that they are this really, really closer than they ever been before on making these nuclear bombs. We have to understand that. And like I said, we got to stop thinking inside of the box because we're not, there's one thing y'all got to know about the system of America. They're not thinking about today. They're thinking about their great-grandkids and their great-great-grandkids. So the things that they're planning for today, the things that they're planning for today, it's not for tomorrow. It's for 50 years from now, 40 years from now, 30 years from now. And you might not like how I'm saying it, but it's the truth. And guess what? Just live long enough. Live long enough. I pray that God keep waking you up every single day and keep on watching. Not me, but paying attention because guess what? We all are interested in the same things. So you're in the right place because you're interested in the same things that I'm interested in, which is a great thing. So I know that I could tell who's young and who's not. I could tell. So just keep on watching, keep on learning, keep on living. You know, make sure you're talking to, and I'm not talking about on the internet, in real life. Make sure you're talking to and you're socializing with people that are interested in the same things that you're interested in, particularly older people. That's how you get your wisdom and your knowledge. And then you get your most wisdom and knowledge when you live long. It's a blessing to be 50. It's a blessing to be 60. It's a blessing to be 70, especially, this is very, very important, especially when you got all your I's dotted and all your T's crossed. That's who you get the best knowledge from. And then after that, you get your wisdom from living. It's a beautiful thing to be 60. It's a beautiful thing to be 70. It's a beautiful thing to be 50. It's a beautiful thing to have a mentor. It's very, very important, chat. It's very, very important. It's very, very great to have a mentor that has dotted all his I's and crossed all his T's and telling you about life. That way you have a head start on what's going on and what I'm talking about right now. It's about who is your mentor. Some people, that's why if you have a dad, if you have a mom, if you have a great grandfather that got their shit together, guess what? That's a blessing. Not only have they shit together, but they got their mental together and their physical together. Because guess what? You can learn a lot from the elders in your family. And that's very, very important. You take that to you living and God waking you up every single day. The next thing you know, you 50, you 60. Now you have more wisdom built up on what was passed down to you from your grandparents and your parents, and you pass it on to your kids. That's how it works. That's how it works, chat. Well, I've been on here for 45 minutes. Well, y'all gonna stick with, I'm gonna stay on live until we get back to the other side. So I appreciate y'all for joining me. This is the 4th season, episode 1 of the walk down. Well, what is the walk down, Stock Sniper? The walk down is I run 3 miles a day, and then I come on here and I jump off and I go live. Well, today I went over. So I'm at about a mile. I'm about a mile and a half right now. But the thing is this, I didn't run today. Why you didn't run today, Stock Sniper? I didn't run because I came late. You know, and I got a time schedule on when I do this. So today, I missed my time, so I didn't get to run. So I did do the walk down, which is cool. Any exercise, chat, is better than no exercise. We got to understand that. I can't say, well, man, I was late, whatever case may be, I'm not going to work out today. No, I got to put some type of work in. And the work that I'm putting in right now is this 2-mile walk, and I'm talking to y'all. But guess what? So because I missed my 3-mile run, guess what I got to do, chat? I got to pay for that. How you gonna pay for that, Stock Sniper? The way I'm gonna pay for that is I gotta do more work. You know, because I was supposed to been on time and I wasn't. I gotta hold myself accountable for not coming on time. I gotta hold myself accountable for missing my run. So I gotta hold myself accountable and I gotta make it up. In other words, I gotta punish myself. See, that's how you trick the mind. That's how you trick the mind and your subconscious mind. That way next time, I discipline myself. You know, that way the next time I'll be ahead of schedule. I won't be late. You know? So that's what we got going on right now, chat. I gotta fix this right. You know you're screwed up, Gene. You're a liberal. Oh, y'all going back and forth in the chat. It's all good. This is the Freedom of Speech channel, y'all. It's the Freedom of Speech channel. But please don't disrespect nobody. You know, we have to have a good intellectual, be able to communicate without disrespecting nobody. You know, that's how it goes. We can't be emotional. Because when you're emotional, guess what happens? You're unable to think correctly. That's one of the things. But with anything in life, you can't be emotional. You can't let your emotions get involved. You have to take a deep breath, come out and walk or something. Come out and walk. And then, why are you shouting? I'm shouting because I'm excited. That's why. I'm excited. I'm shouting because I'm excited. I'm shouting because there's a train right here. But then also, I got a lot of energy. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean to shout. It's not, see, talking loud, chat, long as I'm not disrespecting nobody, I'm not cussing nobody out, none of that. I'm talking. I'm delivering a message. I'm communicating with the chat. I'm excited. I like what I'm doing. That's all it is. That's all it is, 2375. I'm just excited about what I'm doing. That's all it is. I'm excited about where I'm going. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. Now, if I was on here cussing and, you know, talking bad about people, then that's a different story. But I'm talking loud because of excitement. That's why. And I'm excited about what I'm doing. That's all it is to it. Nice, positive shouting. You know, at times, sometimes you go to church, you know what I'm saying, people singing, praising the Lord, similar to that. You know, I'm excited about life. That's what it is. Hey, what's up, Ravion? Appreciate you for joining. Ms. Franklin, that's your president too. That's what you got to understand. Donald Trump is all, if you're an American, Ms. Franklin, Donald Trump is your president too. That's what we got to understand, chat. Whoever the people vote for, that's who they vote for, Ms. Franklin. And once again, Ms. Franklin, Donald Trump has nothing to do with policies and laws. Donald Trump has nothing to do with that. And when you say that Donald Trump started the war, that ain't true. This war with terrorists been going on. Come on. This war with terrorists been going on. You forgot about Osama bin Laden? Ms. Franklin, have you forgotten about Osama bin Laden? Just answer that question. Do you even know who Osama bin Laden is or was? Answer that question. Do you remember when the planes ran, when it was a terrorist attack and the planes ran into the Twin Towers? Do you even know what that is? Do you remember September 11th? Do you remember Miss Franklin? Do you remember September 11th? Do you remember the Taliban? Do you remember ISIS? Do you remember Osama bin Laden? Do you remember who they partnered up? Do you remember who? Do you even know what countries build up the Taliban? Do you even know what countries build up ISIS? Do you even know the people do you even know the suicide bombers that was in those planes trying to take down all branches of the American government? Y'all do know that, right? That was a terrorist attack on the country. And back then, they were saying the same thing. Oh, ain't nothing gonna happen. Ain't nothing gonna happen. Meanwhile, they planning for decades to attack America, to attack America's foundation, the Pentagon, the White House, the Twin Towers, which is Wall Street, which is the foundation of the American economy. Come on now. If you think it ended when Osama bin Laden, when Obama, shout out to Barack Obama, who took out bin Laden, you think it ended right there? You think that terrorism and the hate for America ended when they gave Osama bin Laden the ultimate funeral is when they racked him up in their white, our great American, our great military wrapped him up in those white sheets and gave him the Islamic burial inside of the sea when they pushed him off that Navy boat. Y'all thought that it was over then? Come on now. It was just beginning. Why, Stock Sniper? Because they got 12 kids, they got 50 grandkids, and all of them are raised to say the same thing. What is that, Stock Sniper? Death to America. Death to the freedom of America. Death to whatever we stand for. Death to American Constitution. It's deep. It is deep. And that's what we have to realize. It is deep. When they say terrorist cells, sleeper cells, do you actually really understand what a sleeper cell is? Do you actually understand how long they've been in these sleeper cells? Do you understand that? Do you understand how long they've been planning and plotting and strategizing with these sleeper cells? They've been plotting and planning. They've been plotting and planning and investing in these sleeper cells ever since I was a kid. We got to understand that. We have to understand that, chat. You got to understand it. And sometimes some of us don't. What some of y'all wasn't born yet. Some of y'all wasn't embedded in what's going on in the history and the system of America. So you don't know. So what's happening right now, you are blinded. You are blinded through what? Emotions. You are blinded through emotions, not facts, not wisdom, not knowledge, not understanding, but emotions. That's what you got to understand. And all you got to do, keep on living and keep on watching the film. The good news is that we're interested in the same thing. That's the good news. That's the good news. And it's also the good news, and we pray that God keep waking you up every single day and you keep watching the film. But you got to get your emotions out of it. It's not about a certain name of a person. It's not about Donald Trump. It's not about Joe Biden. It's not about Kamala Harris. It's not about Jasmine Crockett. It's not about et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's what you got to understand. It's about the attack on our freedom. That's what it's about. It's about what we are able to do each and every day. That's what it's about. It's about you being able to not agree with me, and I can not agree with you. It's called freedom of speech. That's what it's about. It's the freedom to be on the internet whenever we get ready. Those countries can't do what we do, Chad. Just like we see in Iran. That Ayatollah, what he told the people, if you go out in the street and protest, you're going to get the ultimate punishment. What is their ultimate punishment, Stock Sniper? Death by suicide. They're going to kill them. That was just imagine an American president telling you, you cannot protest. If I catch you protesting against me, we're going to kill you. Yeah, it get deep. If you are protesting against, for an example, everybody talk about MAGA. If Donald Trump starts saying, if you protest against MAGA, you're dying. You're going to die. We're going to kill you in the street. That's what they're going through in Iran right now. That's what they was going through. They was going through that. They did the Ayatollah, which is the guy that got offed. He was telling the Iranian citizens, if you protest, your punishment is death. That's exactly what he was telling them. Those people ain't got the freedom of speech, chat. And those people, no, not the people, but the leaders over there, they hate that about America because they last thing, and I got to end it after this, their worst nightmare, any one of them countries over there, their worst nightmare is for their citizens to want democracy. And I'm going to end it right there. Their worst fear, all those leaders, I'm not talking about the people, they won't let them get on the internet. They won't, in China, you can't be on TikTok. You can't be on Facebook. Why? Because if you do, and you start feeding into America's values, they're going to want to do that over there. So we got to understand that. That is the biggest fear of those countries, is that their citizens want our democracy, want our freedoms, want to have the freedom of speech, want to have the freedom of bear arms, want to have the freedom to speak how you want to speak without somebody cutting your head off. Y'all got to understand that. And you only understand that if you know what's going on. You can't be emotional. It's about principles. It's about laws and policies. That's what it's about. And we got to understand that, chat. It's not my analogy. That's just how it goes. That's life. You got to understand that. You have to understand that those countries hate the fact that we got freedoms. It sounds crazy and it sounds off, but it's the fact, it's the truth. That's why them people in Iran, they cannot voice their opinion. If they do, they're going to die. They're going to kill them. They can't say, well, I want to say what I want to say. I want to have the freedom of coming to a great park like that. I want to have the freedom to be on Facebook. I want the freedom to be on TikTok. I want the freedom to be on Instagram. I want to have the freedom to like LeBron James, as an example. They ain't got those freedoms. And I'm going to say this, and I got to go for real. If you don't understand, their biggest concern is that they people start buying into the system of America. That's why the last thing they want is for their people to be able to come to America. They don't want the fact that they people want to come over here to the land of milk and honey. They don't like that. Unless the only way that they'll let that go down is if those sleeper cells that I've been talking about, if that's on the mission. Well, this is what I want you to do. We're going to send you to America. It's a mission. That's it. But if you want to, but coming to America and get Americanized and start fitting off the being an American, and you love it, they ain't going for that. They not. They not going for it, chat. And that's what we got to realize. Better listen to the OG. It It sounds ridiculous. It sound this and it sound that, but it's the absolute truth. It's the truth. And we gotta stop being so emotional. Take out your emotions and understand policies and laws. That's what it's all about. Policies and laws. Policies and laws. It's not about Donald Trump. It's not about Joe Biden. It's not about Kamala Harris. It's not about et cetera, et cetera. It's not about Jasmine Crockett. It's not about none of that. It's about policies and laws. And it's about the people. Because it's we the people. And that's what we got to understand. That's what we got to understand. It's not about Donald Trump. It's not about Joe Biden. It's not about Kamala Harris. It's not about none of them people. It's about the policies and the laws. That's what it's about. That's all. Focus on that. Don't focus on Donald Trump being emotional. Don't focus on Sleepy Joe being sleepy, falling asleep. None of that matters. If he is emotional, that's the wrong level to be focusing on. Emotion is a part of a human. But as long as you use your emotion and you direct it in a positive way, that's going to benefit your family, your country, your city, your state, and your downline, your kids and your grandkids. That's all that matters. That's it. That's all that matters. That's it. It's all that matters. It's not about Donald Trump. It's not. It's about policies and laws. And what policies can they put in place for you and your family? What policies they can put in place for me and my family? What policies they can put in place for my kids and my grandkids? What policies can they put in place for we the people? We the people got to come together and not be so emotional in a negative way. If you is emotional, use it the right way. How can I use it? Go vote. Go vote. Come outside and talk to people and get them to vote for and let them understand the policies and the laws of who you think should be in office in your city, your state, your town, or whatever the case may be. That's how you use your emotions. You put your emotions into action by moving. No, I'm not MAGA. If you would be listening, you would be understanding what I'm saying. I just got through saying, it's not about Donald Trump. It's not about Joe Biden. It's not about Kamala Harris. It's about two things: policies and laws. What part of MAGA do you understand about that? That's what I be saying. Y'all be focusing on emotion too much. Emotion. And what it does is it clogs your mind. I'm going to say it again. It's not about Donald Trump. It's not about Joe Biden. It's not about Kamala Harris. It's not about Jasmine Crockett. It's not about Cruz. It's not about Trump's vice president. It's not about none of that. It's about laws. It's about policies. That's what it's about. It's about the laws and the policies that could benefit you, your family, your kids, your grandkids, your community, your city, your state, and we as the people, the country. That's what it's about. All of this, oh, you MAGA, or whatever. Or you left, or you right, or all this stuff. It's not about all that. That is a distraction to keep you emotional, keep you full of emotion and judgment, judging somebody. That's what it does. It keeps you from putting in the footwork of learning who your city council is, learning what the laws are, learning what the policies are, and then coming out and talking to people and letting them know the laws and the policies. Don't get emotional. Focus on the laws and the policies. Focus on this, focus on that. What's going on in your neighborhood? Is the water messed up? Is the lights messed up? Is the park you would go to all dirty and filthy? As examples. You start there and you build. It's a process. And you build. And you learn. And you keep it as simple as possible. And you build on two things. I'm going to say it again. It's policies and laws. That's all it is. And that's what we got to remember. So with that being said, I love and I appreciate y'all. Everybody that's been coming rocking with me. Everybody that's been coming and rocking with me, I love and I appreciate y'all. Everybody that's been coming through, I love and I appreciate y'all. We are all, this the main thing, we are all interested in the same things. We all care about what's going on in the country. We all care about what's going on in the world because it affects us personally. It affects everything, your schools, how your kids go to school, your grandkids, the schools and stuff, your property taxes and how the park look. Everything is affected by these policies and laws. It has nothing to do with a name. It has nothing to do with how they act. It has nothing to do with if he's a scumbag. It has everything to do with how he performed the job and do it align with what you believe in, your family believe in, your city, your state, and you know the rest. So I appreciate y'all for joining me. If you have not, hit that like button. Make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. We almost at 10K subs. This is the Freedom of Speech channel. Yeah, it is. It's the Freedom of Speech channel. And that's what it is. I like the people that come over here. I like the people that come rock with us. I love the different opinions. I learn a lot. The more y'all speak, the more y'all talk, because I rewatch these lives. As soon as I get off live, first thing I do is I rewatch it every single time I go live. Every time I go live, chat. Like right now, when I end this, I'm going to watch the replay and I'm going to read all the chats. I'm going to read what everybody say, and I learn a lot. That's what's so great about this. We have a lot of people come over here with a whole lot of different opinions. And that right there makes me learn a lot. And I appreciate y'all. Not only does it help me learn a lot, but I'm exercising too. So it helps me out physically as well. And I appreciate y'all. Everybody that's been coming through, rocking with the show. I see that a lot of people come back. And that's what we like. I love y'all opinions. I don't care whatever y'all got to say about me. That's your opinion. Why? Because this is the Freedom of Speech channel. And the freedom of speech is what makes us Americans. And we have to, I'm going to say this and I really got to go. We have to really respect our freedoms because, Chad, a lot of countries overseas can't talk, can't say what we say, can't do that. You can't agree with you cannot disagree with the government. You can't do it. And that's what we got to understand. And another thing we got to understand is that a lot of those countries, they can't stand that they can't stand our freedoms. They can't stand it. And I already explained why they can't stand it. And that's not my opinion. That's a fact. So with that being said, I love and I appreciate y'all. We got 81 people in the building exercising that First Amendment. Yeah, freedom of speech. That's what's so great about the country. That's what's so great. And that's what we got to understand. See, this channel, you can come over here and speak your mind. You can speak your opinion. You ain't got to worry about the host trying to block you and all that stuff. No. Because it's we the people. That's why. And I want, but of course, you gotta be, and nobody has been doing that. Everybody's been respectable. Everybody been, everything's been going well. Because, some people, when you say freedom of speech, then they go a whole nother level. But we all understand freedom of speech. Good conversations. You know how to type it and put it together. And you ain't got to agree with me. You don't. I don't want a whole bunch of people that rock with us that agree with everything I say. Because everything I say is not going to be written in stone. Why? Because I'm human. You know, actually, I want the chat to know more than me. Because if I got 60 or 80 people in here that's way smarter than me, guess what that does, chat? Because like I said, I go back and I read the chat. It helps me elevate my education. And then the main thing is that I got kids and grandkids that watches this too. And another thing is, when God take me home, all these videos, all this not entertainment, all this education, all this, my great grandkids will be able to come and watch and learn. 'Cause I got a whole lot of videos. Y'all help build up this whole thing. And I got great grandkids. Because like I said, we got to start thinking about 50 years down the road. We got to start thinking about our great grandkids. We got to start thinking about our great nieces, our great nephews, our third and fourth cousins. We got to start thinking like that. When you start thinking like that, your whole perspective on life changes. Like I just said, all these great people and all these great comments. Guess what? My great grandkids are able to watch all this and learn and educate themselves and educate their kids. Because YouTube and social media is only 20 years old. That's why I'm excited. Somebody asked, well, why you be yelling? Because what I be thinking in my mind, in my subconscious mind, and that this social media is only 20 years old, and the education and the great people, the teaching and the learning and the great conversations, guess what? My great grandkids will be able to watch all this. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited about a lot of things. So with that being said, I gotta go, chat. I might go live tonight. If you have not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel and cut on all notification bells. If you have just now come here for the first time, this is the walk down. Well, what is the walk down, Stock Sniper? I exercise every day. I exercise 3 times a day. This portion of the training, I run 3 miles. I've walked about another 3 miles, but today I didn't run today. And I gotta hold myself accountable for not running. So with that being said, I love and I appreciate y'all. To the next one, I'm out.